folks gather round the sound. Brentwood Joe's podcast where change is found. What's going on in a little town? Let's lift each other up, let's break it down. Is it a yard sale or a friend in need? Let's lend a helping hand.
Hello, Brentwood. Welcome to this week's podcast. I would like to start this podcast with a huge shout out to Jim and Laura Hajar. Jim and Laura work tirelessly behind the scenes of our town, seeking no thanks or recognition for what they do. I am certain that not many in town know exactly how much they do for us, and probably have never even heard of them. They are two of the many people behind the scenes of our town who give so much and ask so little. People who many will never know, that have affected all our lives for the better. Thank you, Jim and Laura. Now for a quick summary of the November 4th Select Board meeting. This meeting was special. The meeting opened with the Pledge of Allegiance, then an immediate procedural vote. A motion to seal the non-public minutes was moved and approved by voice vote. That set the procedural tone. Meetings with personnel and sensitive items were handled in the non-public earlier, now sealed from public view. Payroll and payables were read aloud for the week ending November 4th, 2025. The board moved to accept the payroll register and the manifest and approve public and non-public minutes from October. This meeting's first big ceremonial item was two simultaneous sworn-in appointments. A new fire chief and a new police chief. Retiring Chief Bird gave a heartfelt speech. Thank you for joining. It's been a great group to work with, a privilege. The young men and women you see here made my day special. I'm not going to be a stranger. He introduced incoming Chief Roy Olson, praising his rise through the ranks and decision to make Brentwood home. Motion to appoint Roy as fire chief seconded, unanimous aye, and Roy was sworn in. The board signed his contract. Roy pledged to discharge and perform all duties to the best of his ability. Moments like this matter. Internal promotions preserve institutional knowledge and send a signal about succession planning. Immediately after, Chet Murch was sworn in as police chief, following the successful completion of background checks and contract review. Chet's appointment was also ratified unanimously and contracts executed. Both ceremonies reinforced the central fact of this meeting. Brentwood has new leadership in two essential public safety departments at once. Impressive operationally, but it raises transition workload and short-term coordination needs. And that led directly to the meeting's most consequential operational discussion, police coverage and staffing. The department recently experienced multiple resignations, and the board had to confront coverage gaps. Key facts. Officer Neil Cassell agreed to increase hours, working full-time hours while remaining technically part-time to protect his retirement status through March 2026 to help fill shifts. The Sheriff's Department offered temporary coverage at a contracted rate, $100 per hour, 4-hour minimum, invoiced with details. That can equate to roughly $1,600 per week if coverage is frequent, a non-trivial emergency cost for a small-town budget. State police coverage was raised as a no-cost alternative. Chief Murch will consult the assistant troop commander about availability. The chief will conduct a needs assessment with sergeants to determine actual nightly and weekend gaps and report back in roughly 2 weeks with staffing recommendations. The board authorized the chief, by motion, to utilize the Sheriff's Department as needed and gave him discretion to leverage state police where appropriate, but they were careful to emphasize temporary use only. The difference between authorizing the sheriff at significant hourly cost and pursuing unpaid state police assistance is material for the town's near-term cash flow and long-term staffing strategy. A few governance points emerged plainly. Consensus by email or informal contact is not a valid board vote. The chair and several members reiterated RSA 91A, board decisions require public meetings unless an emergency meeting is called. The board discussed delegating limited authority to the town administrator for between-meeting decisions, but emphasized the risk of bypassing public meeting requirements. The upshot: emergencies can justify special sessions. Otherwise, decisions must be made openly. Next up, personnel process improvements. The board supported instituting formal exit interviews for departing town employees to capture retention drivers and improve institutional knowledge. They agreed the town administrator would coordinate those interviews and that the practice should include the select board as appropriate. Trustees and fee schedule. The board appointed Nick Wrighton to the trustees of the trust funds, an interim appointment until March, and reviewed a major update to the town's building permit fee schedule prepared by the building inspector. Major changes recommended. New fee methodology. Permit fee equals 1% of estimated construction cost plus a permit application fee. $100 for new construction, $50 for other work, replacing a square foot basis. Expansion of covered permit types. Demolition, temporary structures, driveways, ADU permits, updated certificates of occupancy, and penalties for work without permits. Comparative analysis. Code Officer Chuck benchmarked 15 similar towns and set fees at the lower end of the local market. Board members requested clarification of small typos, and one member asked that the new schedule take effect January 1st. The motion to adopt the fee schedule passed with that effective date caveat. Practical implication. Switching to a value-based fee approach better reflects construction costs and brings Brentwood closer to regional norms, a revenue and enforcement modernization move. Then the municipal budgets, the meeting's finance-heavy second half. A few items stood out. Next up, the library budget. A long, substantive exchange with Yanis Ware's library director and trustees chair Melissa Bertulin. Janice presented a carefully reworked budget that showed a 3.8% decrease from last year, following staff turnover, restructured hours, and a plan to replace a fourth assistant with a page to control labor costs. Key numbers and arguments. Janice reported robust program output, 233 programs in 12 months with 3,446 participants, strong community engagement, in circulation savings calculated by replacement value methodology, total reported public value $440,574. Staffing, 2 full-time salaried positions, library director at $82,000, with one other full-time at $74,000, multiple part-time assistants and pages. Some trustees approve schedule flexibility exists with occasional remote admin time. Operational reality. The library is open 40 hours weekly. Janice argued those hours include not only frontline service but cataloging, interlibrary loan work, program prep, and community access, not visible if you drive by. The board discussed one possible cost-saving idea: reduce open hours, cut a day, to save about 416 hours per year. Proponents argued reducing open hours may channel demand to busier days. Opponents said community schedules vary and reduced hours disproportionately harm working families and students. Facilities and operating line items. Building maintenance rose roughly 25% in the library budget because of cleaning contracts, snow removal, ramp and stair clearing, and aging building needs. Catalog system fees rose slightly, and our annual licensing costs. IT fund is level funded with the plan to replace one PC per year. After robust back and forth, the board settled on the library budget number aligned with a 2.8% raise rather than the full 3% ask, contingent on staff and trustee confirmation. The board emphasized procedural alignment. Town and library budgets traditionally track together, and the need for clarity on FICA and other calculations. The director left committed to follow-up clarifications. Health insurance and benefits, a major, time-sensitive committee decision. The Health Insurance Committee recommended move from 2 dental plans to a single dental plan. Plan 1C, unanimous recommendation. Cost savings modest but real because offering multiple dental tiers drove administrative and premium cost inefficiencies. Offer 3 medical plans to employees for open enrollment. Plan A, AB 20, 0 deductible, higher, premium. Plan B, ABS OS, $1,000 deductible. And Plan C, ABSOS, $3,000 deductible. Consolidate prescription benefits across plans to a single prescription package to reduce administrative cost and avoid cross-plan inefficiencies. Discussed employer and employee premium splits. Traditionally, the handbook set 100% single, 75% couple, and 75% family. The committee proposed adjusting to 100% single, 80% couple, and 80% family, mirroring comparable neighboring towns such as Fremont. Committee recommended staying with HealthTrust for this plan year for continuity and savings while continuing to evaluate future provider options. Rationale: switching carriers mid-cycle risked administrative disruption and savings were marginal given timelines. The Select Board voted to accept the committee's recommendations and authorize the town to present these options in the upcoming open enrollment period. That's a big operational win. The committee advanced a clean set of choices for employees and improved long-term cost predictability for the town. Other committee updates and operational items were: Recreation Director search and Welfare Director appointment remain in progress. Applications are in the town administrator's mailbox, and HR is moving forward with interviews. The highway crews are preparing for winter, routine but essential. Police hiring interviews for patrol positions will be coordinated by Jim McIntyre with town admin support for applicant packets and scheduling. The Treasurer's weekly report, bank balances, payables, will be reinstated regularly to improve financial transparency, a welcome administrative improvement. During the insurance deductible discussion, the board wrestled with potential changes to the town's self-insured deductible level and risk strategy. Current deductible in the budget is $5,000, and the insurance premium increase for next year is about $10,000. Board members asked staff to run scenarios for $5,000, $10,000, and $25,000, even higher deductibles, and to evaluate the potential premium savings versus the reserve needed to self-insure. Capital reporting and Department of Revenue Administration timeline. The town accountant flagged the MS 535 submission process, DRA tax rate filing. Auditors are finishing closeout this week. The town can submit unaudited numbers now to get the tax rate process moving, but must file final audited numbers when available. The board authorized using the unaudited MS 535 to avoid tax setting delays and holiday season complications, a pragmatic step to preserve the December billing schedule, with the caveat that final audited numbers may adjust the rate. Operational approvals and small contracts. Tree removal on Deer Hill Road. 2 dead trees pose a safety hazard. Approved quotes totaled $5,000, and the board authorized removal and contracting with the warning that regular operational delegations, town administrator and highway supervisor, can handle similar imminent safety actions between meetings to avoid emergency session overload. Pay adjustments and payroll forms. Several HR paperwork signatures and overdue pay rate confirmations were approved by motion and signed. Public comment highlights. Residents asked for clarity on departed officers and staffing numbers. The chair and staff clarified recent resignations and status updates. Liz Faria noted the need to unseal non-public minutes periodically in accordance with statute and encouraged the board to schedule that 10-year review promptly. What does this meeting mean in plain terms? Short-term public safety coverage is secured through a mixed approach: temporary internal hours from Officer Cassell, contracted sheriff coverage when needed, and potential state police support. The chief now has explicit discretion, but the town must watch those sheriff invoices carefully. Staffing remains the long-term issue. The chief will run a needs assessment and return with hiring recommendations. The library budget negotiation highlights a larger municipal theme. Community services often require trade-offs between access and cost. The board preserved hours and programming largely intact while nudging the budget to conform with town compensation policy, but this was a close call and a clear sign that budget pressure will continue. Benefits decisions lock in a cleaner, administratively simpler set of offerings for employees and position the town for incremental premium savings and clearer employee choice. Those choices will affect employees' out-of-pocket costs and town contribution levels going forward. Financial operations improved incrementally. The weekly treasurer snapshot, authorization to use unaudited MS 535 figures, and a push to evaluate deductible reserve strategies are practical steps toward budget discipline and predictable tax rate timing. Governance emphasis. The board repeatedly affirmed RSA 91A public meeting requirements. Email consensus is not a vote. Delegation to the town administrator can be considered for urgent, low-risk operational tasks, but significant decisions require public deliberation. Immediate action items and watch list. Chief Murch's needs assessment on staffing and a 2-week update on coverage gaps and costs. Follow up on the sheriff versus state police cost trade-offs and the actual weekly invoicing if sheriff coverage is used. Library director to confirm FICA, benefit calculations, finalize trustee details, and circulate updated line item clarifications, cleaning contract, snow removal, catalog system. finance team to model insurance deductible scenarios and present savings versus reserve recommendations. Town administration and auditors, finalize MS 535 audited numbers and confirm tax rate timeline. File unaudited version to keep December billing on track. Town administrator to coordinate exit interview process and document findings for HR and the select board. Continue benefits open enrollment communications to employees with clear premium share percentages and plan choices. This meeting was heavy on personnel and operational triage, light on headline capital projects, but the choices made will shape Brentwood's public safety, service levels, and budget discipline for the coming year. Now that we've gone over the select board meeting, we thought, given the time of year, we would talk about a holiday that brings families together, fills our tables with food, and reminds us to give thanks. Thanksgiving. But have you ever wondered about the origins of this cherished holiday? Let's take a journey back in time to uncover the roots of Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, as we know today, has its origins in the early 17th century, specifically in 1621, when the Pilgrims celebrated their first successful harvest in the New World. But to truly understand Thanksgiving, we need to look at the context of the time. The Pilgrims, a group of English settlers seeking religious freedom, left England aboard the Mayflower in 1620. After a treacherous journey across the Atlantic, they landed at what is now Plymouth, Massachusetts. The harsh winter that followed was brutal, and many of the settlers perished due to cold, starvation, and disease. As spring arrived, the surviving Pilgrims were introduced to the local Wampanoag tribe, who played a crucial role in their survival. The Wampanoag, led by Chief Massasoit, taught the Pilgrims vital agricultural techniques, such as planting corn, beans, and squash, often referred to as the Three Sisters. This knowledge was instrumental in helping the Pilgrims adapt to their new environment. In the fall of 1621, after a bountiful harvest, the Pilgrims decided to hold a feast to celebrate their good fortune. They invited the Wampanoag to join them, and this gathering is often considered the first Thanksgiving. It lasted 3 days and was filled with food, games, and camaraderie. However, it's important to note that the menu was quite different from what we enjoy today. The feast likely included venison, fowl, corn, and various fruits and vegetables, but no pumpkin pie or cranberry sauce. Fast forward to the 19th century, and Thanksgiving began to evolve into a national holiday. Sarah Josepha Hale, a prominent writer and editor, played a significant role in this transformation. For nearly 17 years, she campaigned for a national Thanksgiving holiday, believing it would help unify the country during a time of division, particularly as the Civil War loomed. In 1863, President Abraham Lincoln finally heeded her call and proclaimed Thanksgiving a national holiday to be celebrated on the last Thursday of November. This was a pivotal moment, as it marked the beginning of Thanksgiving as we know it today, a time for families to gather, reflect, and give thanks. As we gather around our tables this Thanksgiving, let's remember the origins of this holiday and the diverse stories that contribute to its meaning. Whether it's sharing a meal, expressing gratitude, or engaging in meaningful conversations, Thanksgiving can be a time for connection and understanding. The outdoor burn ban has finally been lifted, but please remember to get your permits before you do burn anything. With the holidays upon us, please donate to the local food bank of your choice. Turkeys would be a popular donation right now, along with the fixings. Let's all make this a great holiday season for everyone. Let us also not forget our first responders and our incredible soldiers, many of whom will not be able to spend the holidays with their families, whether they are deployed or patrolling our streets to keep us safe. They may be sleeping at the fire station in case, God forbid, the need arises for them to again come to our rescue. These men and women continually give so that we may go about our lives as safely as possible. Please thank them if you see them and keep them all in your prayers. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Brentwood Joe's Town Hall Podcast. We hope you found this exploration of Thanksgiving's origins enlightening. As you celebrate this holiday, may you find joy in the company of loved ones and a deeper appreciation for the history that shapes our lives. Until next time, take care and happy Thanksgiving.
Make a difference today, Brentwood Joe's Town Hall. Let's find our way. What's on the docket? Let's hear what you say. It's your town, your voice. Don't let it decay.